Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're diving into a really powerful system for memorizing complex stuff. And, the really important part? Making sure it actually stays there long after you've put in all that work.
You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You spend hours, maybe even days, cramming something into your brain. A speech, a poem, a sacred text, whatever it is. You feel like you've got it down cold. You're a genius. But then, you wake up the next morning, try to recall it, and it's just gone. It's like your brain just hit the delete button while you were sleeping. It is so frustrating.
But what if I told you the problem isn't that you have a bad memory? What if the real issue is just the method you're using? It turns out that just repeating something over and over again, that brute force approach, well, it's often not enough to build a deep, lasting memory. And today, we're going to look at a much better way.
Okay, so let's get into the system itself. This is a complete four-part approach. And this is not about just reading words over and over until your eyes glaze over. Nope. This is about building a mental framework, a structure that actually connects the ideas, making them way easier to find in your brain and almost impossible to forget.
And here it is. This is our roadmap for today. It's super logical. First, we have to understand the words. Then we structure the ideas. After that, we zoom in to master the details. And trust me, that's where the real magic happens. And finally, we lock it in for good. It's a whole process designed to take you from feeling confused to feeling totally confident.
Now, to see how this works in the real world, we're going to apply it to a real example. A few verses from the Quran's second chapter, Surah Al-Baqarah. This way, we can see every single step in action, not just talk about it in theory.
Step 1. Understand the words. This is so fundamental. You can't truly memorize what you don't understand. That's just reciting sounds, not knowledge. So we're going to start by looking at some key terms. For instance, the verses use the word millatahum. This basically translates to their religion or their way. Seems simple, I know, but getting these basic building blocks right is absolutely crucial.
Next up, we come across the word wali. Now, this one's interesting because it's not just one thing. It can mean a protector, a guardian, or a supporter. Understanding that little bit of nuance adds so much color and depth to the text. It's the difference between seeing a picture in black and white versus seeing it in full, vivid color.
And finally, we have two terms that are going to be super important in a few minutes. The first is adl, which means a ransom or a payment, and the second is shafa'ah, which means intercession or mediation. Okay, now I want you to try and keep those two in your back pocket because knowing exactly where they go is going to be the key to unlocking a major memory puzzle in just a moment.
Okay, let's move on to step 2. Now that we understand the individual building blocks, the words, we need to see the blueprint. We need to structure the big ideas. A great way to do this is with a mind map, something that gives you that bird's eye view of how everything connects together.
And this is where it all starts to click. See, these verses aren't just a random list of sentences. They actually tell a story. It all revolves around a main theme, that real guidance is God's guidance. From there, the story flows. First, it talks about the path of disbelief, then it describes two different kinds of people, and it all wraps up with a final direct call. When you see this structure, it stops being a block of text and starts being a narrative you can actually follow and remember.
All right, now for the part where most of our memorization efforts just completely fall apart. We're talking about those passages that look and sound almost exactly the same. This brings us to step 3, master the details. This is where we face the really confusing parts head-on and solve them for good.
Okay, just take a look at this. On the screen, we've got two different verses from the same chapter, verse 48 and verse 123. They look like twins, right? But remember those two words we talked about, intercession, shafa'ah, and ransom, adl. Well, look closely. They're swapped. This is a classic, ridiculously frustrating memory trap that is designed to make you second-guess yourself every time. So the million-dollar question is, how on earth do you keep them straight? How do you create a mental rule so you never, ever mix them up again? This is where a simple little memory tool can be way more powerful than hours and hours of painful repetition.
And the solution is this simple, beautiful little mnemonic in Arabic. It says, enter with intercession and exit with intercession. That's it. That one little phrase is the key that unlocks the entire puzzle. It is the cheat code we've all been looking for.
It's so brilliant how this works. Enter with intercession tells you that in the first verse you come across, verse 48, the word intercession comes first. Then, exit with intercession tells you that in the second, later verse, verse 123, the word intercession comes second.
at the exit of the phrase. Just like that. With one simple rule, all that confusion just melts away. Problem solved.
So, we've understood the words, we've structured the ideas, and we've totally mastered the tricky details. Now there's just one last crucial step. This is what turns all that hard work into permanent, automatic knowledge. It's time to lock it in.
Now, this is where repetition makes a comeback, but it's smart repetition this time. It's active, not passive. The idea is to read the text aloud over and over again. This engages your ears and your voice, not just your eyes, and it trains your brain on multiple levels. You're basically cementing that beautiful, logical structure you just built.
And that's the whole system. 4 connected steps. It's not about having some kind of photographic memory or a natural superpower. It's just about having a method, a reliable process that takes you from the fog of confusion to the crystal clarity of deep understanding.
At the end of the day, what we've really learned here is more than just a technique. It's a whole philosophy. It's the idea that true, lasting memorization isn't some kind of magic trick. It's just the natural result of genuinely understanding something, organizing it in a way that makes sense, and solving its little puzzles before you try to force it into your brain.
And this 4-part system, understand, structure, master, and lock in, you can apply this to basically anything. A legal document, a scientific theory, a new language, a piece of music, you name it. So I guess the only question left is, what's the first complex idea you're going to choose to lock in?